Well, hello again. How are you doing today? Me, myself, I'm doing pretty good. I am in the new place of residence for my family, which the wife and kids are ecstatic about, and I'm pretty happy about too. My wife did a really good job. She picked a really good house. It fits the family really well, and my bus can park here. Woohoo! So, get to work on that. That's going to be pretty cool. Maybe I'll do some videos of doing some stuff on that. Sort of depends on how involved I'm going to get. But that has nothing to do with the subject at hand, so let me get back to the subject at hand. When I was in the Virgin Valley, 2 days before I left while I was digging at Opal Negra, I had a gentleman who had seen my car, and I had helped his family out with some information before they went up into the Peacock and did some digging. And they did pretty good apparently. And he sort of saw what I was doing, and I had told him about the YouTube channel, and he told me how much he believed in it, and that he'd gone on a sort of a journey like I was doing before, and that he knew some money could help me out. So he slid me a $100 bill. That is the first time in my life somebody randomly has given me a $100 bill. I've had people give me a $10 or a $20 bill when I've helped them out before, and said buy dinner and stuff like that. And depending on the situation, I'll turn it down or I won't. And sometimes I really need it. And I had budgeted at that point enough money to get back home and finish my digging, and that was it. I had the turquoise mine cancel on me because their family has signed an agreement to do a reality TV show. I haven't posted the Spectrum Mine video yet for some reasons that I'll get into later. And when he gave me that $100 bill, it gave me an opportunity. The opportunity was I could still make it back home the same way, and I could get a hotel room. Or I could still get home the same way, and I could go noodling one of the days at one of the feed dig mines. So, me being me, and you guys pretty much know what I did, right? I didn't sleep in a hotel room. I slept in my car. I drove from Nevada, from Virgin Valley, Nevada, to Pensacola, Florida, Destin, Florida, in 3 days. All I did was sleep in the car, take a shower at the truck stop, and drive. So, on that note, thanks to that lovely person, I can't remember his name. I think I might have his number in my phone. I'm going to text that number later and make sure. Thanks to that lovely person, my day of noodling was extremely productive. I found a bunch of little cool pieces. I found a couple of solid, nice, fiery opals that aren't all crazed and cracked out, that have been weathered, so they're probably nice and stable. But this right here is the day maker, the week maker. It is a beautiful piece of conch wood. It has got red and green fire all over it in here. It has got glass running through here. I'll show you a video of some fire here in a second. Today, the video I'm going to show you after this really long opening is how to clean up conch wood. I talked to people about this over and over again because of the log I have, and I found out my log needs to be wet cut. That's what needs to happen. This, on the other hand, needs to be dry polished. So we are going to go over dry polishing and gluing a piece of Virgin Valley conch wood today, because this is definitely a video that needs to be on the internet. So here we go. Okay, right here I'm going to be making a box that I can use my Dremel inside the house and keep the dust and dirt from flying all over the room. It's really simple. I just put a cutting blade on my Dremel. I cut some armholes in the sides, and I cut a little bit of a better visor hole in the top. In this video, I'm not going to cover the side armholes, but in the future, I'm just going to basically attach some towels on each side armhole so that the dust will stay in, above my arms and stuff like that. But if I do that for this video, then you guys won't be able to see. So this is really simple. I'm sure you can figure it out just by watching me here and using a Dremel cutting plastic. So hard, man.
Here's our piece of conch wood that we are going to clean up today. Oh yeah, you can see all that fire in it, can't you? Having no problems with these two lights on it. I have a yellow light above me and I have the white light of my camera phone on, and it's definitely giving the amount of fire that's in the end of this out big time. There's lots of green and lots of red. You can see there's some running in the top too. Now it goes all the way over to here. Now this is not winking back at me, but there's thick, really dark glass. So the hopes is that that might be some black glass and the top of this white might end up being some crystal fiery red opal, and that would be amazing. But we're still super happy with what we have here. And I'm gonna clean this up and I'm gonna show you what I started with. The first thing I did, you know what, before I do that, I'm also gonna say the gentleman that made this possible, when he gave me that donation, I also did not let him leave. I carry specimens on me that I give to people and I give to places that I dig and, you know, special people and stuff like that. So I had some really cool Rux Pit specimens on me. I had one that has very big dog tooth crystals in it, worth a minimum of $150 to $200, and I gave him that. So since he was really cool to me, I was really cool to him, and he was super excited about that. And I was super excited about the opportunity that I might have to do this, and this is what came of it. So first things first. This is the glue that was recommended to me by the Royal Peacock. This is the thinner version of it. They have a thicker and a thinner version. It's basically super glue. There's another company that makes it that people use it for wood and stuff like that. I don't know the name of it. Other people probably do, but this stuff does work. The first thing I did is where there's not any mud, I soaked it in glue along this edge and along this edge and just let it absorb into there where I could see wood. I didn't want to glue the dirt and mud down yet, although I will use that to stabilize it later. We're going to use a Dremel tool. I have the box that I made. I have video of that. I will put in eye hole that I cut in it. My Dremel tool, and right now I am starting with just, I don't know what grit it is, but it's pretty rough, and I'm using it very lightly just to take the dirt off. I'll set up the camera and we'll do that.
Alright, so the Dremel tool is probably going to be too loud for me to really talk about what I'm doing. You're just going to have to watch and sort of notice, but I'm just going to be taking off the top layers of dirt and some of this sort of white silica, and I'm just going to be taking off the top layers of that, trying not to damage too much of the wood, or glass. Here we go. Also, one of the keys to this is that you do not want to let a section heat up too much. Heat is your enemy. If it gets too hot, the glass will shatter. The changing in temperatures fast for the opal is really bad. So you want to just sort of brush it and not stay in one area too much. You don't want to overheat anything.
So here's where I am so far, and I don't want to leave you guys running, so I'm going to turn you off and turn you back on here when I'm planning on switching bits, if I end up switching bits. I'll turn you on when I get a little bit more color out.
Alright, well my AC's running, but this is the point that I've gotten it to using that, uh-oh, there's still glue on it. I put some glue on it and now I just glued my fingertips together. Anyways, this is the point that I've gotten it to using the the sanding bit on my Dremel that I showed you at the beginning. I'm not using the sanding bit anymore because when I started getting closer to the harder wood and around this white, like simple potch, opal maybe, it started getting hard and it started stripping out and wasting the sanding paper really fast. So I figured that the glass is starting to, or the wood is starting to get too hard for the sanding paper to keep up with it. So at this point, I'm thinking that it seems pretty hard and like it's a lot of glass. So I'm going to keep gluing it until it doesn't absorb any more glue, and hopefully I won't glue my fingernails to my fingers anymore. And after it has a fair amount of glue in it, I'm going to try and wet polish it and see what kind of color we come up with. Because I was creating too much heat with the sanding paper at this point, and because everything's so hard, I don't want to create the kind of heat that cracks or splinters the glass that's in the center of this, that I know that's in the center of this, because this is a very valuable piece of wood. So there's that. I'm not sure when I will do that. Maybe I might just take the Dremel tool and the wire brush maybe and some water and see how it stands up to that after I've got it nice and glued real good. Glue it a couple more times. I can still see a couple dry spots on it. I really want to see what color is in that. But I might end up having to get it cut open to see the color that's really in the center of this. I mean, obviously there's good color. Good color, yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, so after gluing it really well, this is what I've got here in my hands. And just to show you why I'm going to wet polish it, it sounded like this before I ever started gluing it. It actually sounds softer now it's got a glue coating. Also why I was having so much problem sanding it without creating a whole lot of heat. So now I'm going to use water, and I'm also going to use one of these, once again I'm not sure what grit it is, but it's definitely finer than the last grit I was using. It's not near as abrasive as that on my hands. So this is what I'm going to be using next, and we will see what happens and how it goes, because in reality, I'm new at this. So I've brought out some of the color that's on the side right here, and that's when it was really starting to get hot. So I'm going to clean off the rest of this white right here and see if I can bring out that color bar that's along this edge. I'm going to just try and keep that part wet and cool and not really saturate the whole piece of wood, even though it's going to end up getting wet no matter what. It's just the way this works. Turn it down a bit.
quickly makes a mark in there. And I can see the blackness of that wood starting to come through right there. It's definitely the glass and the wood. And I don't think I want to take it any farther than that on that edge. Maybe just clean this one up a little bit. Oops, maybe just clean this up a little bit, but I think that's good on that edge.
Alright, so right where this edge is, I can see the glass line starting right there. Like I can see the color line starting. So all of this is like potch and wood. And there's color line here too. I'm thinking I might just clean off some more of this potch and get down to that color line. Although maybe I shouldn't, but I don't really know. I think it's more colorful the better, right? I don't know. This end might be good because I mean it's pretty stable and hard, and that's sort of a big deal too. But there is this area of mud right. Whoops! There is this area of mud right here. I'd like to get rid of. Anyways, I think I'll try and work on this line of mud right here that's right next to this color bar and see if I can expose more of that color bar. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that. So after some careful grinding, this is where I'm at now. It's got a lot of the mud off of it. It's still got a little bit, but it's really not mud. It's so hard. I mean, it might as well be stone. I didn't want to take down any more of this right here because it gets ultra thin compared to the back end, which is rather fat compared to this end. So, whoops, sorry, bumping the camera. I want to keep this as thick as possible through this with anything hard, because I plan on having this cut directly down the center. You can see glass line in the center right there, even though it's not winking at you too much. But then you can see this glass line, and it's got mad amounts of color in it. I mean, it's huge all the way through it. So I figure the best color is in the center, and I want to have this sliced with a, lapidary saw, super thin blade, and lay this open. And I'm figuring that's where the best color is going to come out. Instead of trying to polish down the wood till I get to the glass, I think that's just going to make my overall specimen weak. So I almost wish I wouldn't have taken off so much of the white that was on this edge. I think it would have given it, more stability. But live and learn. I definitely plan on hunting the Virgin Valley a lot more. I'm addicted to it, for real, opaholic and a half. So I'm going to move on to buffing. Alright, so before I buff it again, instead of just polishing the wood, I'm going to hit it with some more hot stuff. I'm going to give it a nice little coating, and then I'm going to pretty much polish that coating off of it. This is just guesswork on my part, so we'll see how this works. Monster glue buildup right there. Sort of tipping it around so the glue will lay evenly. And then I'm also going to move it off of this glue patch that it was just sitting on, hoping I don't glue it to the table. So there it is now. I hit one side. I'm going to leave that for about 15 minutes and let the glue harden, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. Alright, so after gluing both sides of it, you can see it sort of has a sheen, but it's sort of pocky marked, and there's some areas that are, the glue dried a little bit white. I'm going to be using these buffing wheels for Dremel tools I got on Amazon. I'm going to be starting with a 180 grit, and then I'm going to be moving up to a 300 grit, and then from a 300 grit to a 400 grit, because that's as high as I have right here. So I'm going to be using water and polishing it with water and this. Whoa, don't want to do that. Well, I polished it up a bit, and it's not perfect. I'm really not worried about it being perfect at this point because of it being so thin on this side and so rock hard, as you can hear. I want to have it cut if possible. I might have to trim it first along this edge and then have it cut lengthways along the thickest part. But I truly believe that's going to be the way to get the best color out of it. And I feel like if I keep grinding down on the ends, I'm just going to take away from the future stability of the piece with taking off all of this, you know, hard stuff. So this is part one of cleaning my conch wood. I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to call it, but this is the end of part one of cleaning my conch wood. I have another piece of conch wood that needs to be cut and still needs to be cleaned too. So I'm going to do some more cleaning videos. The next one up is using the citric acid on calcite crystal seashells, and I tried to use that for about a day on some quartz crystals, but it really didn't do too much, it's looking like, to the quartz crystals. So I'll go back to that and get that video done for you. And I'm going to do a daily deal today, so keep your eye out for my daily deals. They're starting today and they're going to be worth it. All right, watch, like, subscribe. Thanks for viewing. I know I said that wrong, but share anyways. Later, guys.